Have you ever imagined going to a BTS soundcheck, bringing a random sign featuring Jimin, Chris Hemsworth, and football superstar Erling Haaland, and then suddenly seeing someone on stage actually stop and pay attention to it? Well, that's exactly the moment that has ARMY talking right now. And what happened next made this unexpected crossover even more unforgettable. Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Signal. Everyone, ARMY K-pop fans all around the world. Today's story is honestly one of those moments that nobody could have predicted. Out of all the banners, slogans, and fan projects that usually appear during BTS events, a simple sign featuring 3 completely different global stars somehow became one of the most talked about moments from Munich. And the reason? Because during the Day 1 Soundcheck in Munich, a fan's creative sign appeared to catch attention on stage, leading to reactions that immediately spread across social media. Now, if you've been following BTS concerts for a long time, you probably already know that soundcheck moments are special. They're different from the main show. The atmosphere feels more relaxed and intimate. The members often move around casually, notice small details, and sometimes interact with fans in ways that don't happen during the actual concert. That's why fans treasure soundcheck moments so much. And in Munich, nobody expected one particular fan project to become a viral topic. According to fan videos and posts that quickly circulated online, one fan attended the Day 1 Soundcheck, carrying a sign featuring 3 faces placed together. The first was Jimin himself. The second was Hollywood actor Chris Hemsworth. And the third was football sensation Erling Haaland. Yes, Jimin, Thor, and Haaland. Even reading that combination sounds unexpected. At first, many people online simply laughed because of how random the trio seemed. Some wondered whether the fan was trying to create a global handsome lineup. Others joked that this was the most unexpected crossover of the year. And before anyone could stop talking about it, the videos began spreading everywhere. People were replaying the clips. People were zooming in. People were trying to understand exactly what happened. Because from the videos shared by fans, it appeared that the person on stage took notice of the sign and looked at it for a moment. And suddenly ARMY lost their minds. The internet loves unexpected interactions, especially when they happen naturally. Think about it. Thousands of fans attend BTS events. Hundreds of signs can be seen from the stage. Yet every once in a while, one sign stands out because it is creative, funny, or completely unpredictable. This sign definitely fell into that category. And perhaps that's why the moment immediately captured everyone's attention. However, that's not the whole story. What made this situation even more interesting was the reaction online afterward. Some fans couldn't stop laughing because they were genuinely curious about what was going through his mind at that exact moment. Did he understand the joke immediately? Did he wonder why Chris Hemsworth and Haaland were suddenly appearing next to his photo? Did he think the combination was funny? Of course, unless he personally explains it one day, nobody truly knows. But that's the magic of these moments. Sometimes an interaction lasts only a few seconds, yet it sparks thousands of conversations among fans worldwide. And that's exactly what happened here. Within a short time, clips and screenshots began appearing across social media platforms. Fan accounts reposted the videos. People started creating edits. Memes appeared almost immediately. Some ARMY joked that Jimin had accidentally become part of a legendary trio. Others playfully imagined conversations between the 3 celebrities. Some even joked that somewhere out there, Chris Hemsworth and Haaland probably have no idea that their photos were featured together on a fan's sign during a BTS soundcheck in Munich. Honestly, that's part of what makes fandom culture so entertaining. Fans are incredibly creative. They find connections nobody else would think about. And sometimes those spontaneous ideas end up creating memorable moments. But here's something many casual viewers might not realize. The reason this small interaction became such a big topic isn't only because the sign looked funny. It's also because ARMY have always loved seeing idols notice tiny details. These moments feel personal. When an idol notices a sign, a message, or even a small gesture from fans, it reminds everyone that concerts are not just performances. They're experiences shared together. A stadium can hold tens of thousands of people. Yet somehow one creative sign can still become visible. One funny idea can still create a connection. And one brief interaction can become a memory that fans talk about for days. This is why so many people became attached to the Munich soundcheck moment. At first glance, it seems simple. A sign, a few photos, a glance. That's all. But in fandom spaces, those little moments often mean much more. Because behind every sign is a fan who spent time planning it. Behind every banner is someone hoping, even for just 1 second, that their favorite artist might notice. Most of the time, those hopes stay as hopes. But every now and then, something happens. And suddenly, that memory becomes unforgettable. The Munich moment feels exactly like one of those stories. And believe it or not, there was another reason why people became so invested in this interaction. Most fans didn't notice this detail immediately. The combination of Jimin, Chris Hemsworth, and Haaland actually represents 3 completely different worlds coming together. You have K-pop, you have Hollywood, and you have global football. 3 industries, 3 fandoms, 3 enormous fan communities. Putting them together on one sign almost feels like internet culture in one image. And maybe that's why people couldn't stop sharing it. Because regardless of whether someone is an ARMY, a Marvel fan, or a football supporter, almost everyone recognizes at least one of those names. Suddenly, the sign wasn't only a funny concert banner anymore. It became something that people outside the BTS fandom could also find amusing. And this is where everything became even more interesting. As the videos continued spreading, discussions started becoming increasingly creative. Some people wondered why the fans specifically chose Chris Hemsworth and Haaland. Others simply appreciated the humor without trying to analyze it. Meanwhile, ARMY kept returning to one question. What exactly was going through his mind during that moment? Again, nobody can answer that for sure. But the fact that fans are still discussing it tells us something important. In today's fast-moving social media world, attention disappears quickly. Trends come and go within hours. Yet somehow, this brief soundcheck interaction continued making people smile. And maybe that's because it felt genuine. There was no elaborate production, no planned event, no official announcement, just a fan bringing a creative sign to Munich. And somehow, that became one of the most memorable talking points from day one. But what happened next made the entire situation even more fascinating, because as more videos and photos surfaced online, fans began noticing additional little details that had completely escaped their attention during the excitement of the original moment. As screenshots and fan recordings continued circulating, people began slowing the clips down frame by frame. Some replayed the video over and over again. Others zoomed in on the sign itself, trying to catch every little detail. And suddenly, what started as a funny, unexpected interaction turned into one of those classic ARMY investigations where everyone notices something different. Hey, if you've been in this fandom for a while, you already know how this works. One person notices a detail. Another fan brings up something nobody else saw. Someone else finds another angle from a different section of the stadium. And before you know it, thousands of people around the world are discussing a moment that lasted only a few seconds. That's exactly what happened after the Munich D1 Soundcheck. Some fans said they loved how natural the entire interaction felt. There was nothing staged about it. Nobody expected this sign to become a viral topic. The fan probably brought it simply because they thought it was funny and creative. Then suddenly, everyone was talking about it. And honestly, that's part of the magic of live events. You can prepare incredible performances for months, create breathtaking stages, and organize massive fan projects. Yet sometimes the moment that people remember the most is something completely spontaneous. A glance, a smile, a reaction, or in this case, an unexpected sign featuring Jimin, Chris Hemsworth, and Erling Haaland. The combination still sounds surreal. And maybe that's exactly why it worked. Because let's be honest for a second, if someone had told ARMY 1 week earlier that one of the viral topics from Munich would involve these 3 names together, most people probably would have laughed and said, "There's no way." Yet here we are. Social media timelines were suddenly filled with edits and jokes. Some fans imagined Chris Hemsworth and Haaland attending a BTS concert. Others jokingly called it the International Handsome Alliance. A few even created fictional scenarios where the 3 somehow become friends. Of course, these were simply playful fan reactions, but they showed something important. People were genuinely having fun with the moment. And that's something that often gets overlooked in fandom discussions. Not every viral moment has to be dramatic. Not every trending topic has to involve huge announcements. Sometimes people simply enjoy sharing something that makes them smile. The Munich Soundcheck interaction felt exactly like that. For a brief moment, fans around the world collectively said, "Wait, did that really happen?" Then everyone laughed together. And perhaps that's one of the reasons this interaction spread so quickly. It felt lighthearted. It felt unexpected. Most importantly, it felt human. Because if you've ever attended a concert, you know that these little memories become priceless later. Years from now, fans may not remember every single song performed on a particular day, but they often remember the funny incidents, the surprising interactions, the random moments that nobody could predict. For the fan who brought that sign, this is probably one of those memories. Imagine arriving at Munich's D1 Soundcheck carrying a creative banner. Then suddenly realizing that your sign has become one of the most talked about moments among thousands of fans online. That's incredible. And this is where another interesting aspect of the story appears. Concert signs themselves are actually a huge part of fan culture. They're personal. They're creative. Sometimes they're emotional. Sometimes they're hilarious. Some fans bring signs thanking their favorite artist. Others write jokes. Others create references that only longtime fans understand. Every sign tells its own little story. This particular sign stood out because it blended three completely different worlds together. And strangely enough, that randomness became its greatest strength. Because it sparked curiosity. People wanted to know more. Why these three? What inspired the idea? What was the meaning behind it? Even if those questions never receive official answers, the mystery itself became part of the fun. And while people were busy discussing the sign, another thing became increasingly clear. The Munich concerts have been creating so many memorable fan interactions. Whether it's cheering moments, emotional exchanges, funny incidents, or unexpected surprises, fans constantly find little details that make every show feel unique. No two concerts are ever exactly the same. That's why ARMY continues showing up with so much excitement. Because every event carries the possibility of creating another unforgettable memory. Nobody walked into the stadium expecting this specific interaction. Yet it happened, and suddenly it became part of Munich's concert history. What happened next surprised many people even more. As the clips continued gaining attention, some fans began saying that moments like this are exactly why they love attending soundchecks. The atmosphere feels different, more relaxed, more spontaneous, more intimate. Artists often appear more casual during these sessions, and because of that, small interactions can feel especially meaningful. It's almost like getting tiny glimpses into an unscripted environment. That's why fans treasure every second, because you never know when something unexpected might happen. And Munich delivered exactly that. Some ARMY even admitted that they couldn't stop rewatching the videos because the entire interaction felt oddly wholesome. Not because something huge happened, but because it was so simple. Sometimes simplicity creates the strongest memories. A funny sign, a brief reaction, thousands of smiles. That's it. Yet somehow, it became one of the moments everyone wanted to talk about. And if you think the story ends there, well, not exactly. Because while people continued joking about the sign itself, others started discussing something even bigger. This moment became another reminder of how incredibly creative ARMY can be. Seriously, the fandom constantly finds new ways to surprise not only artists but also each other. Every concert seems to bring new ideas, new jokes, new fan projects, new unforgettable interactions. And somehow, fans always manage to create moments that nobody sees coming. The sign featuring Jimin, Chris Hemsworth, and Haaland now joins that long list of legendary fan-created memories. The funny thing is that its success wasn't based on complexity. It wasn't a massive project. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't officially organized. It simply captured people's attention because it was unique. And uniqueness often becomes memorable. Perhaps that's the biggest reason why this interaction resonated with so many people. In an era where information moves incredibly fast, authentic moments stand out. People remember things that feel genuine. Things that couldn't have been scripted. Things that happen naturally. The Munich D1 Soundcheck interaction felt exactly like that. And as discussions continued across social media, one question kept appearing again and again. Could anyone have predicted that one of the most talked about moments from Munich would involve Jimin, a Marvel superstar, and one of the world's biggest football players appearing together on a fan's sign? Probably not. And maybe that's exactly why everyone is still talking about it. Because every once in a while, fandom gives us these wonderfully random moments that remind us why live events are so exciting. You never know what you'll witness. You never know what people will create. And you definitely never know which small interaction will suddenly become the next viral topic across the internet. But here's the detail that many fans only started appreciating later. This wasn't just about a sign anymore. By this point, The interaction had become something bigger, a shared memory among ARMY around the world, one of those tiny, unexpected stories that people will probably bring up again whenever they talk about Munich Day 1. And surprisingly, another angle from the event soon made fans revisit the entire moment once again. As more clips surfaced online, people began paying attention not only to the sign itself, but also to the atmosphere surrounding that interaction. You could hear the excitement from the crowd. Phones immediately went up in the air. Fans around that section of the stadium appeared to realize that something special was happening. Even without a dramatic reaction or a major announcement, there was this undeniable feeling that everyone had just witnessed one of those spontaneous concert memories that cannot be recreated. And honestly, ARMY, those are often the moments that stay with us the longest. Think about it. BTS concerts are filled with breathtaking performances, incredible stages, and unforgettable songs. But years later, fans also remember the tiny incidents, the unexpected eye contact, the funny interactions, the little things that were never part of the official program. Munich Day 1 suddenly gained one more memory to add to that list. What also made this story feel so special was how quickly fans around the world became part of it. Many international ARMY weren't even inside the stadium. Some were asleep because of time differences. Others were working or attending school. Yet within hours, people everywhere were opening social media and asking the same question. Wait, what exactly happened in Munich? And then they watched the clips. Then they watched them again. And before long, they were smiling too. That's one of the most beautiful things about fandom communities. Sometimes, a moment happening in one corner of the world can instantly become a shared experience for millions of people. Someone sitting in Indonesia, Brazil, Mexico, the United States, South Korea, France, or anywhere else can suddenly feel connected to an event that happened thousands of miles away. A fan attends a soundcheck in Munich. Another fan uploads a video. And suddenly, the entire fandom is laughing together. It's amazing when you think about it. Even more interestingly, some longtime fans pointed out that these kinds of interactions represent something very characteristic of BTS concerts. There's always room for spontaneity. There's always room for unexpected fan moments to become part of the experience. No matter how massive the stadium is, concerts somehow still feel personal. And perhaps that's why ARMY puts so much love and effort into signs and banners. Because every fan arrives carrying a different story. Some are attending their first BTS event. Some have waited years for the opportunity. Some traveled from different countries. Some saved money for months. Some simply want one chance to be in the same space as the artists they admire. When all of those emotions come together, even a small interaction can carry tremendous meaning. And maybe that's why the Munich moment resonated with so many people. At its core, this wasn't really a story about Chris Hemsworth or Erling Haaland. It wasn't even just about a sign. It was about creativity. It was about connection. It was about thousands of fans witnessing something unexpected and deciding to enjoy the moment together. Sometimes, that's enough to create something memorable. As the discussions continued online, another beautiful thing happened. Instead of arguing over interpretations or overanalyzing every second, many fans simply celebrated the randomness of it all. The timelines became filled with jokes, edits, and playful comments. For a little while, everyone seemed to agree on one thing. This was fun. And honestly, in today's incredibly fast-moving social media environment, moments like these feel refreshing. Not every viral topic has to involve controversy. Not every trending discussion needs to be serious. Sometimes people simply need a reason to smile. The Munich Soundcheck delivered exactly that. And if we're being honest, one reason these little stories become so beloved is because they remind us that artists and fans are all sharing the same experience in real time. Nobody planned for this interaction to go viral. Nobody knew it would become one of the most discussed moments from day one. It simply happened. Then everyone embraced it. That's what makes live events magical. They're unpredictable. You can prepare for months and still end up creating memories you never saw coming. Maybe that's also why so many people continue following BTS and their concerts with such passion. Every event feels like a new chapter waiting to happen. Every city brings different energy. Every crowd has its own personality. Every performance contains the possibility of another unforgettable story. And Munich definitely gave fans one. Perhaps years from now, when ARMY talk about the Day 1 Soundcheck, someone will suddenly mention that famous sign. everyone will laugh. Someone will remember the videos. Someone else will remember the edits and jokes. And another fan will probably say, "I can't believe that actually happened." Because that's how fandom memories work. The smallest moments often become legendary. As this story continued spreading, it also became another reminder of how wonderfully creative and passionate this community can be. Fans don't simply attend concerts. They contribute to the atmosphere. They create jokes, memories, and interactions that make every event feel alive. And honestly, that's something worth appreciating. Because at the end of the day, concerts are more than performances. They're experiences. They're stories. They're moments that people carry with them long after the lights go down. Munich Day may first have started as just another stop on an exciting journey, but through one unexpected sign and one spontaneous interaction, it gained a memory that people around the world are still talking about. And maybe that's the real reason this moment became so special. Not because it was huge, not because it was dramatic, but because it was genuine. It reminded everyone that sometimes the most unforgettable memories arrive without warning. A few seconds can become a story shared by millions. A random idea can make an entire fandom smile. And one unexpected interaction can bring people together, even if they're separated by continents and time zones. So to everyone who watched the clips, shared the posts, laughed at the edits, or simply enjoyed this wonderfully random crossover, perhaps that's the real beauty of being part of a global fandom. You never know which moment will become the next cherished memory. And to the fan who brought that creative sign to Munich, you probably had no idea that your banner would end up making so many people smile around the world. Sometimes, that's exactly how the most unforgettable stories begin. Alright, Pop Signal family, that's all for today's story. If this moment made you smile, don't forget to leave a like on this video. And if you love staying updated with the latest news, viral moments, and fascinating stories from the world of K-pop and BTS, make sure to subscribe to Pop Signal and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next update. Now we want to hear from you, Army. If you were attending the Munich D1 Soundcheck, what kind of sign would you bring? And what do you think about the unexpected combination of Jimin, Chris Hemsworth, and Erling Haaland on one banner? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because we always love reading your stories and reactions. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Take care, stay happy, keep supporting the artists you love, and as always, we'll see you again in the next video here on Pop Signal.